What's up, Internet? Today, it's all about commuting on the Hayabusa. Today's commute's pretty extreme, in my opinion. I've done all kinds of commuting over the years. Why would I commute on a Hayabusa? There are plenty of motorcycles that are far more suited to commuting from home to work and back to home again. So, I mean, like an ADV bike would be great. A touring bike or even a sport touring bike. Some people consider the Hayabusa to be a bit of a sport touring bike. I think it's a little bit more of a sport touring bike than a ZX-10 is, but it's also still very sporty. It's definitely more sporty than touring, that's for sure. Whatever your opinions are, I don't really care. These are the kind of motorcycles that move my soul, and that's what I'm going to commute on when I do have to commute. Like today. It's a little bit after 8 a.m. Well, right now it's 8:25. It was a little bit after 8 when I left the house, but this is just a bit of a rare commute for me. Mostly, I work at home these days. I work remote, however you want to call it. But on occasion, I do have to go somewhere, and today is one of those occasions. It's supposed to be close to 92, 93 degrees for the high today. Fortunately, it's not there yet, but on my way home, it will be. This isn't a fun commute. I've done it in the car a couple of times. It sucks. This is the first time doing it on the Hayabusa. We will encounter some shitty traffic, dumbasses like this who think the left lane exists for them. I mean, what are you gonna do? Just move over, get off your phone, get Hey, no matter what bike you're on, if you got a long commute, you got lots of highway miles to cover, do yourself a favor, man. Get a throttle lock or a bike that has cruise control. But even if you have cruise control, you will undoubtedly run into slower traffic. And you're going to have to disengage cruise control at some point because you just won't have any other option. There'll be somebody to the right of you, traffic in front of you is going too slow, or maybe you've got one of these people who just doesn't understand how to share the left lane. So whatever the case is, you're going to have to disengage, and you can do that a bunch of different ways on the Hayabusa. You've got both your front brake lever, you've got the rear brake pedal, and you can also roll the gas, the throttle tube, in the opposite direction, basically forward, and it'll shut off cruise control as well. I think one of my most preferred ways to disengage the cruise control is to actually apply just a hair, teensy-weensy little bit of throttle. Just crack the throttle open and then tap the rear brake. It just provides a really smooth transition from cruise control to no cruise control, rather than hitting any of the brakes or even rolling your throttle tube forward to shut it off. Now, one area where I actually like the throttle tube method is if traffic is just slowing down. So once we get to one of these choke points, and it's not just a matter of turning off cruise control, you just need to slow down a lot because traffic is slowing down or even stopping. That's a good place to just roll the throttle forward. It shuts off cruise control. It's a lot less abrupt than hitting the front brake. And then there, of course, there's panic situations. And hopefully you don't have any of those. You're paying attention to everything in front of you. In that situation, you just need to do what you need to do. Hit the brakes, swerve, whatever the case is. So my Hayabusa still has stock gearing. And I really like the bike at 80, 85 miles per hour because it's almost vibration free. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't changed the gearing. I have actually considered going to a little bit taller gearing because what I use my Hayabusa for the most is road trips, touring, that kind of stuff. So there's going to be times where I need to get on a highway and just lock her in at 85, 90, whatever, and just crunch miles and just cover as much road as I can. And this bike with the stock gearing, the vibration is almost non-existent at around 80, 85 miles per hour. Now I'm going a little bit faster. This truck wants to get over, so we're just cross these double white lines and get into this stupid toll lane they built. This is dumb. But anyway, where was I? Yeah. So I've actually considered it just a hair taller, because like right now I'm at like 88 or something like that, and the bike's starting to like vibrate, and over a long period of time, man, you're gonna feel it in your hands, you're gonna feel it in your feet. Even if you have, like right now I'm wearing tennis shoes, but even if you have some really nice riding boots, it'll eventually, the vibration will seep in there and you'll start to feel it. And so I've actually considered going a few teeth tall, like not a lot, like a very minor gear change, like 1 to 2 teeth taller on the rear sprocket. However, in a situation where we're going to be in a little bit stupid stop and go congestion, that taller gearing is going to have a negative effect in terms of you're going to have to like clutch a lot, because your first gear is going to be too tall to go really, really slow. And so you're just going to be constantly like pulling the clutch in, maybe shifting to neutral, coasting. So that's going to suck. But you know, your setup on your bike is always about give and take. And I think, you know, commuting on a bike, if you're the kind of person that's commuting, that's not a word. If you're the type of person that's commuting all the time, you know, set your bike up for the part of the commute that you have to deal with the most. And if most of it is like this, set your gearing up so that this part of your commute is, you know, the most enjoyable part. If you're living in like a metropolitan area, maybe you should consider lowering the gearing so that the bigger part of your commute doesn't suck so bad, but we'll find out here shortly. This is kind of more of just a general riding safety kind of thing. When I'm riding by myself, I don't like to be in any of the center lanes, right? I want to be in an edge lane, because that way I only have to defend my lane from one direction or one side. But when you're by yourself, you simply are going to be in somebody's blind spot. There's just no way around it. Now there is a commuting vehicle. Look at that shit. I mean, it's a cool truck, and that's a hell of a lift. But could you imagine parking? Like, you can't fit that into a parking garage. Like, I don't know, man. Where do you park? I'd love to see where he's commuting to and how he parks that thing. Man, I'm kind of shocked right now. This is like where I expect some of the heaviest congestion to be, and it's flowing really good. I'm almost done with this commute, so I'm gonna shut the cameras off. What are we doing, people? People! Shut the cameras off, get ready to get a workday in, and then I'll be right back with kind of my final thoughts on this extreme commute on the Hayabusa. So as I was filling up the gas tank, a couple of things came to mind. One, fuel range. Let's face it, sport bikes are mostly homologated race bikes, so they're pretty much minimal. They're you know, sport bikes are minimalist. Gas tanks are small. There's not a lot of fuel range with a sport bike, so you need to take that into consideration, because you could get some ADV bike with a 5-gallon tank, or hell, I think like Honda Goldwings have 6-gallon tanks. So take that into consideration with how many miles your commute is round trip. The Hayabusa, I mean, it'll tell me it can go 220 miles when I fill it up, but the reality is I was at a quarter tank and I went 155 miles. Maybe I could get more than that if it was all highway. This particular commute is mostly highway, but a little bit of a mix. Whoa, my goodness. It can be a hassle to have to like fill the tank up every other day, or heaven forbid every day. That would be one hell of a commute. The other thing that popped into my head is I'm actually carrying a second laptop back home with me. So my bag's pretty heavy. Definitely pushing the weight limit of what I want to carry in a backpack. So take that into consideration, because again, being a sport bike, being a minimalist, there isn't really any like places to put cargo. right? You just don't have anything. There's no panniers or soft luggage on the bike. And I mean, I don't know, soft luggage for daily commuting, I don't know that I like that. For a road trip, that's one thing, because that's what I do, but for like a daily commute thing, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on commuting with a Hayabusa. Hopefully this video is interesting, helpful to somebody out there on the internets, and I'm going to call that a video, so you guys know what to do. Keep the road side down. We'll see you in the next one.